My son gave up his own daughter because she was deaf. So I made a decision that would take me years. I would learn her language and find her again. The day I lost my granddaughter, she was still alive. That's what made it worse, because losing someone to death is painful, but losing someone because they were unwanted, that kind of pain stays forever. My name is Henry Carter. I'm 68 years old. And the hardest moment of my life wasn't when I buried my wife, wasn't when I lost my job. It was the day my own son walked away from his child because she couldn't hear. Her name was Lily. Small, fragile, beautiful, and silent. Not because she wanted to be, but because the world was silent to her. She was born deaf. And from the moment the doctor said those words, everything changed. I remember the room. White walls, cold air, machines humming quietly, and my son standing there, frozen, like he had just been handed a life he didn't want. It's permanent, the doctor said gently. She won't be able to hear. Silence followed, heavy, uncomfortable, but not for Lily. She didn't know yet. She didn't understand. She just lay there, tiny fingers moving, eyes searching the world, a world that would never sound the same to her. I walked over, looked at her, and felt something immediate. Not pity, not fear, love, pure, instant. Because she was still my granddaughter, nothing had changed, at least for me. But for my son, everything had changed. This isn't what I signed up for, he said, quiet but clear. I turned to him because I thought I heard him wrong. What did you say? I asked. He didn't look at me, just shook his head. I can't do this, he said. My chest tightened because now I understood. This is your daughter, I said, my voice steady, controlled, but inside, something was breaking. She needs you. He finally looked at me, and what I saw in his eyes wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was rejection. I don't want this life, he said. That sentence changed everything, because in that moment, he didn't just reject a situation. He rejected his child. Days passed, then weeks, and slowly he pulled away. Less visits, less care, less connection, until one day he made it official. She'll be better off somewhere else, he said. Somewhere else. That's how he described it. Like she was an inconvenience. Something to be relocated, fixed, removed. You're giving her away? I asked, still hoping he would take it back. Still believing. He couldn't mean it, but he did. I can't raise a child like that, he said. Like that. Those two words still echo in my head. Because Lily wasn't like that. She was just different, and different scared him. I argued. I fought. I begged. But nothing changed. Because once someone decides they don't want responsibility, they stop seeing love. They only see burden. And in the end, he signed the papers. Just like that. No hesitation. No tears. No looking back. And Lily was gone. Placed into a system. A place where children wait. Not for toys. Not for comfort. But for someone, anyone, to choose them. I stood outside that building for a long time. Longer than I should have. Because I couldn't accept it. Couldn't understand it. How someone could walk away from their own blood. Just because life wasn't perfect. And that's when I realized something. The world wasn't unfair to Lily. People were. And if no one stepped up, she would grow up thinking she wasn't enough. That she was unwanted. That she was alone. I couldn't let that happen. I wouldn't. But there was a problem. A big one. I didn't know where she would go. I didn't know who would take her. I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. And worst of all, I didn't know how to talk to her. Because Lily lived in a silent world. A world I didn't understand. A world I couldn't reach. Yet, that night, I made a decision. One that would take years. One that would test everything I had. I'm going to find her, I said to myself. No hesitation. No doubt. And when I do, I paused. Because this part mattered. I'll speak her language. Not mine. Hers. Because if she couldn't come into my world, then I would go into hers. Completely. Fully. No shortcuts. No excuses. From that day forward, my life changed. Every morning, lessons. Every night, practice. Hands. Expressions. Movement. Learning a language without sound. A language built on connection, on understanding, on patience. And I struggled, more than I expected, because it wasn't just about learning signs. It was about changing the way I saw communication, the way I saw the world. Years passed, slowly, but I didn't stop, because somewhere out there, my granddaughter was growing up, without knowing that someone never gave up on her. And one day, I would find her, not as a stranger, not as someone trying to understand, but as someone who finally could. Because the day my son walked away was the day I made a promise, not to him, but to her, that no matter how long it took, she would never be alone again. I thought learning sign language would be the hardest part. I was wrong. The hardest part was living every day knowing she was out there, somewhere, growing up without me, without anyone who truly understood her. The first class I attended, I almost walked out, not because it was difficult, but because it was different, completely different. No voices, no sound, just hands moving, faces expressing, eyes connecting. It felt like stepping into another world, a quiet one, but not empty, not at all, because silence isn't the absence of communication, it's just a different way of speaking, and I had to learn it. From the beginning, the teacher stood in front of us, smiling, signing, and I didn't understand a single thing, not one. For the first time in years, I felt lost, truly lost, because words had always been my strength, and now they meant nothing. I had to relearn everything, from scratch. A simple hello took effort. A sentence felt impossible. My hands were slow, awkward, uncertain, and every mistake reminded me of one thing. Lily had been living like this her whole life. That thought kept me going every single day. Morning classes, evening practice, books, videos, conversations, silent conversations. I practiced in front of the mirror, watching my own hands, correcting myself again and again, because this wasn't a hobby. This wasn't curiosity. This was a promise. And I don't break promises. Months turned into a year, and slowly, things changed. The movements became natural. The expressions became clear. The silence started to make sense. I wasn't just learning a language anymore. I was learning how to feel it. Because sign language isn't just hands. It's emotion. It's connection. It's truth. And I wanted Lily to see that one day when I finally found her. But finding her, that was another battle, a harder one, because the system doesn't make it easy. Records are sealed. Names are changed. Children are moved, protected, hidden. And I understood why. But that didn't make it easier. I started with what I had. Old contacts, legal records, people who knew people. And slowly, very slowly, pieces started to appear. A file, a name, a transfer. Nothing complete, nothing certain, but enough to keep going. Every lead I followed, every name I checked, every possibility I explored. Because somewhere in all that noise was her. There had to be. Years passed. Not one, not two, 5. 5 years of searching. 5 years of learning. 5 years of not giving up. People told me to move on, to accept it, to let it go. But they didn't understand. You don't move on from family. You don't accept abandonment. You fix it. Or you try until you can't anymore. And I wasn't anywhere near stopping. Then one day, everything changed. A call. Unexpected. Quiet. Important. "We might have something," the voice said. My heart stopped. Because after years of nothing, something is everything. "Tell me," I said. "There's a girl," they said, "around 7 years old." A pause. Deaf. My hands tightened. Because that wasn't enough. "Not yet. There are many deaf children," I said, trying to stay calm. "Her name was changed," the voice continued. "But there's a detail." A pause. Something specific. I leaned forward, focused, listening. "She has a small birthmark," they said, "on her left wrist." Everything went silent. Not around me, inside me. Because I knew that detail. I remembered it. The day she was born. That tiny mark. Barely noticeable. But unique. Unmistakable. "It's her," I said. Without hesitation. Without doubt. "It has to be." My heart started racing. Faster than it had in years. Because after all this time, after all the searching, after all the learning, I was close. Closer than ever before. "Where is she?" I asked. There was a pause. A long one. And I felt it. That hesitation. That weight. "She's with a family," the voice said. "A foster family." Good. That was good. She wasn't alone. "She's safe," they added. That mattered. More than anything. But safe didn't mean complete. "Not yet." "Can I see her?" I asked. Another pause. "Not yet," they said. Rules, processes, permissions, all the things that slow things down. But I understood. Because this wasn't just about me. It was about her, her life, her stability, her safety. "I'll wait," I said. But inside, I wasn't patient. Not anymore. Because after 5 years, waiting feels like a lifetime. But I had one advantage now. Something I didn't have before. I was ready. Not just to find her, but to reach her, to talk to her, to understand her. Because when I finally stand in front of her, I won't be a stranger. I won't be someone trying to learn. I'll be someone who already knows. Her language, her world, her silence. And when that moment comes, when she looks at me, I won't say a word. I won't need to. Because for the first time, I'll be able to tell her everything without making a sound. And that moment is closer than it's ever been. I didn't sleep the night before. Not even for a minute. Because after 5 years, waiting becomes impossible. The call came early. Short. Direct. "You've been approved for a supervised visit." That was it. But it was everything. My hands trembled. Not from fear. From something else. Something deeper. Hope. For 5 years, I imagined this moment. Over and over again. What I would say. How I would stand. What she would feel. But now, it was real. And reality is never as simple as imagination. The building was quiet. A place meant to feel safe. Soft colors. Warm lighting. But my heart didn't feel calm. Not even close. I sat in the waiting room, hands resting on my knees, trying to stay still, trying to breathe. Because in a few minutes, everything could change. A woman walked in. Kind eyes. Professional smile. "She's ready," she said gently. That sentence almost broke me. Because I wasn't sure if I was. But I stood up anyway. Because I didn't come this far to hesitate. Not now. Not ever. We walked down a quiet hallway. Each step heavier than the last. Because at the end of it was her. Lily. 5 years older. 5 years without me. 5 years of a life I wasn't part of. The door opened. And there she was. sitting at a small table, drawing, focused, quiet, perfect. My heart stopped, because even after all those years, I recognized her. The same eyes, the same gentle expression. And then I saw it, her left wrist, that tiny mark, still there, still hers. It was her, no doubt, no question, just certainty. I stepped inside slowly, careful, respectful, because this wasn't just my moment, it was hers too. She didn't look up right away, still drawing, still in her world. And for a second, I just watched, because I realized something. She looked happy, not lost, not broken, happy, and that mattered more than anything. The woman beside me signed something gently, a soft movement, a signal. Lily paused, then looked up, and our eyes met. Time stopped. Everything else disappeared, because in that moment, it was just us. Her expression changed, curious, careful, because to her, I was a stranger, someone new, someone unknown, and that hurt more than I expected, because to me, she was everything, but to her, I was nothing. Not yet. I took a step forward, slowly, so I wouldn't scare her, so I wouldn't rush her, because trust takes time, and I was willing to give it. I stopped a few feet away, and for a second, I almost spoke, almost said her name, but then I remembered. Words weren't enough. Not here, not with her. So instead, I raised my hands, slowly, carefully, and I signed. My name is Henry. Her eyes widened, just slightly, but I saw it. That moment of surprise, because she didn't expect that, didn't expect me to speak her language. And in that small moment, something changed. The distance between us became smaller, not gone, but closer. She looked at my hands, then back at my face, trying to understand, trying to decide if I was safe, if I was real. Then slowly, very slowly, she signed back. Hello. That one word meant everything, because it wasn't just a greeting. It was acceptance, a small one, but real. My chest tightened, because after 5 years, we were finally speaking, not with sound, but with something deeper, connection. I smiled gently, not too much, not too fast, because this wasn't about overwhelming her. It was about meeting her where she was. I've been looking for you, I signed. Her expression shifted, confused, curious, because that sentence carried meaning she didn't understand yet. Not fully, but she felt something. I could see it. In her eyes, that small spark, that quiet question. Why? She signed it slowly, carefully, and that question was harder than anything I prepared for. Because how do you explain 5 years of searching, of learning, of missing someone to a child who doesn't know you? I took a breath, steady, calm, then signed, because you matter. Her eyes softened, just a little, and in that moment, I knew this wasn't about proving anything. This wasn't about fixing the past. This was about building something new, something real, one sign at a time. She looked at me again, longer this time, not like a stranger, not completely, but not like family either, not yet. But there was something there, something small, something growing, and that was enough, more than enough, because relationships don't appear instantly. They grow, slowly, quietly, just like this one. I sat down across from her, careful, present, ready, because this wasn't the end of the journey. It was the beginning. And this time, I wasn't leaving, not again, not ever, because after 5 years of silence, we finally found a way to hear each other. The second visit felt different, not easier, but closer, Because the moment we shared before, it stayed. That small connection. It didn't disappear. It grew. Slowly. Quietly. Just like everything else in her world. Lily was waiting when I arrived. That alone meant more than words. Because children don't wait unless they want to. She sat at the same table, but this time she wasn't drawing. She was watching the door, waiting for me. The moment I stepped in, her face changed. Not a big smile, not excitement, but something softer, recognition. And that was enough. I walked over, sat down across from her again, and signed, "Hello, Lily." Her eyes widened slightly, because this time I used her name. She didn't ask how I knew, but I could see the question forming. "How do you know me?" She signed slowly, carefully, still learning, still growing, just like me. I paused, because this moment was important. The truth was sitting right there, between us, waiting. But truth needs timing, and I wasn't sure if she was ready. "I've been trying to find you." I signed instead. "Not everything, not yet, but enough." Her expression shifted again, curious, focused, because children understand effort, even when they don't understand reasons. "Why?" she signed. That question again, simple, but heavy. I felt it this time, deeper, because now the connection was real, and answers mattered more. I looked at her, really looked at her, and realized something. She wasn't fragile. She wasn't broken. She was strong, stronger than most people I knew, because she learned to live in a world that didn't slow down for her. And that meant she deserved the truth. But not all at once, not like a shock, like a bridge, built carefully. "I care about you," I signed. Her eyes softened, just a little, because care is something you feel, even without sound, even without history. She hesitated, then signed something unexpected. "Will you come back?" That question broke something inside me, because it wasn't about the past. It was about the future, about trust, about fear, the fear that people leave, because in her world, people had already left. And she remembered. Maybe not clearly, maybe not with details, but emotionally, she remembered. I leaned forward slightly, made sure she could see my hands clearly, and signed. Yes, slow, clear, certain. "I will always come back." Her eyes locked on mine, searching, testing, because promises only matter if they're real. And she needed to know that this one was. Then she smiled, small, quiet. "Hello, friends. How did you feel about today's story?" If this story touched your heart, let me know in the comments below. And if you want the next part, just comment part 2. I read every single one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon so you never miss a powerful story like this. See you in the next story.